Here's how to react to your partner's cheating on you. Open the relationship. First of all, I want to go over the structure of your communication with them when you sit down with them or her, going over how you can rearrange the relationship and change your arrangement so that you can open it. Now, I'm a huge proponent for open relationships as it's founded on the cornerstones of true love, true unconditional love, wanting for their happiness, and each other's living their biggest life. So that's the cornerstone of an open relationship. And I'll go over how you can communicate that with your partner whom you caught cheating. Now, this is presuming also that you caught them cheating, that you actually know that they're cheating. And it's also presuming that you want to continue on the relationship, whether you have a great arrangement or you have a family or you really do care and love them and you want to continue on the relationship and you can actually trust them. And so how would you communicate with them if you caught them cheating? Cheating in traditional sense is you're in a monogamous relationship and they've had an extramarital or extra-relational affair with somebody else. What do you do with that? How do you feel about that? The first step for you to do is to not communicate when you're in extreme emotions. It's very hard to negotiate with people, businesses or people, colleagues, or your spouse or your beloved when you're operating based on emotions. And actually in negotiations, that's how you control somebody, how you can manipulate somebody is when you know they're in high emotions and so you utilize that to your advantage. So don't let that be a disadvantage for you. What we're going to do is we're going to negotiate the relationship and change the arrangement. Because presuming that you want to continue on the relationship, you have a great arrangement with them, maybe you even have a family with them. And this is incredibly important for everybody, especially important for parents whose sole job it is to make sure their kids live in a happy home. That's the first job of the parent. The second job of the parent is to keep them away from an unhappy home. So if you, for example, both live in two separate houses, then they have two separate happy homes. That's your job. And so what you want to do, presuming all of that, is you want to sit down with them and say you want to have a candid, open, transparent communication. And you sit down with them and you say, baby, I want to have a candid communication with you and I want to be able to facilitate a space where I can communicate openly, transparently, candidly, and so can you, and none of us be judged or condemned for what we say. I just wanted to, and what you structure with your communication is called pacing and leading. You pace their reality, and then you lead it into the reality that you would like. One of the tools for pacing that I'll explain to you here is called strategic empathy, which I went over a few days ago. Strategic empathy is a powerful tool in negotiations or in communication in general, getting what you'd like. Empathy is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and being able to vocalize it. That is empathy. Different from sympathy. Sympathy is seeing their perspective and agreeing with it. With empathy, you don't necessarily need to agree with it. You just need to be able to vocalize their position, their perspective. And so strategic empathy is your being able to utilize empathy to your advantage. Utilize vocalization, communication of their perspective so you can get what you'd like. Wouldn't that be helpful to you? And so you sit down with them and you empathize with them. And you pace their reality, the reality that you know that they probably have. And you say, hey baby, and you realize this for yourself, by the way, let me go over this before I start. You realize for yourself that because you caught your partner cheating, your relationship has probably already gone down the pot and it's probably emotional for you and I get it. But since you've caught them, your relationship's probably gone down a bad path. And you both have been taken as granted, taken for granted. And they've betrayed you. And presuming you want to continue on the relationship, you go back to the notion of open openness of relationship and you ask yourself, do I want more from my partner than merely their existing? If that's the case, then you've taken them for granted. That is the measure of whether or not you've taken somebody for granted, if you want more from them than merely their happiness and their existing and their well-being and their actualization. And vice versa, if they want more from you than merely your existing, then they've taken you for granted, and you must communicate about that. And so you communicate that with your partner, sitting down with them, and you say candidly, hey baby, I've noticed in our relationship that we both have been taking each other for granted. And I realize, and this is important why you grab my book, and it's important during this conversation that you do grab my book. Go to Amazon, search Rone John, search Relationship 101. You'll find my book. Get it as soon as possible and have it with this conversation. And you say, hey baby, I recognize that in our relationship we both are taking each other for granted. More than just each other's existing. Remember when we first met, when we were just happy that each one of us existed? At least I know I did. Now we want more from each other than merely our existing. Our relationship has gone down that path. And so here's what occurred. I caught you cheating. And don't worry, I'm not angry. I just want to have a conversation with you and rearrange our agreement, rearrange our expectations with each other, and manage our expectations about our relationship and each other, and manage how we are going to interact with each other in a more happy and harmonious way. And so I want to base our relationship on a new cornerstone, and the cornerstone is unconditional love. Unconditional love is my wanting for your happiness intrinsic to my happiness. In other words, I want for you to do whatever makes you happy, makes you actualize, and makes you live the biggest life you can for yourself. And I want to know that if you're with me, it's because you want to and like to every time. Now, if you like to be with the other person whom you'd had extramarital, extra-relational affairs, go and be with her. And we'll deal with that if that's the case. But if it's the case that you were driven by pheromonal imprint or by your DNA, your human-driven instincts, then let's rearrange our relationship so that it's open. And open doesn't mean open legs or open zipper, it means open communication. Your ability to be able to communicate openly and transparently to me and myself to you. And so I read this book, and this book goes over the dichotomy between women and how women and men needs to be emancipated from how they perceive relationships needs to be. And actually, open relationships create harmonious relationship, whether we have a family, we have children or not. If we love each other, we want for each other's happiness, intrinsic to our own happiness. What do you think about this, baby? This is how, and cut, this is how I would go over my reaction if somebody cheats, and presuming that I want to continue my relationship with them. What do you think about this? Share in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. What do you think about cheating? Would you take back your partner if they've cheated? Would you be able to trust your partner if they cheated? Do you agree with the open relationship aspect? With the open communication aspect? Let me know. And the next thing I want you to do is, of course, get the book. Get it right away. And don't communicate with your partner when you're in extreme emotions. And number 2 is I want you to join our group so you can better your communication, better enhance your relationships. It's on a link in my profile, in my bio. And the third thing I want you to do is I want you to like and heart this video, leave a comment below, answer my question, what do you think about what I talked about, and share this video with other people. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.